Alright, so I'm going to try to make a video explaining a very niche problem for a very small subset of the community. Speedrunners, with the recent MCC patch. So on screen you'll see a bunch of the fixes pushed for Halo 2, which are great. I think the game looks nice, but you'll notice there's a common theme with pretty much everything was done to match the original Halo 2 release. And there's one glaring issue that they did with one of these fixes, and that's at the bottom of gameplay there. And falling from a great height no longer causes fall damage, consistent with the original release. Yeah, so their fix for this isn't actually the way that Classic works. They went about this in a way where any high-speed collision now does not work. Like, any high-speed collision, you're just going to lose speed, which is really weird and doesn't mimic Classic at all. And it doesn't mimic, pre-patch, obviously, because it's a change. And maybe to show you what I mean, so here, prior to this patch, I'd be able to, slide jump across this gap easily. Now I just lose speed. I don't even get close. On the classic version of the game, you'd bounce off of this and fall in the middle too, but you'd fall further than what I just did. So why is this an issue? Well, for speedrunners, this affects pretty much the entire speedrun. And when I say the entire speedrun, I mean anything. This is just normal driving. If you touch a wall, things get weird. And if you've seen a Halo 2 speedrun before, you'll notice that there's a bunch of sword tech, zooming around the map with a sword, and then sometimes you put enemies on your head and you fly across the map that way. Well, now those don't really work anymore. And when I say they don't work after a certain speed, which is really easy to get to that speed because you're just moving fast normally. You do not need to fall from a very large height to take fall damage with this fix. So, speedrunners are just cheaters and there's no speedrunners anyway. There's only 20 given runners at any point in time, I don't know, running this game. But I'm holding out hope because if they were kind enough to patch in sword tricks for the speedrunners for campaign, maybe they'll be nice enough to revert this and go to a better fix. And when I say better fix, I mean look at this. This snippet here is from their known classic multiplayer bugs. And the two things I want to highlight are hit registration is not in parity with the original game, and super bouncing does not mirror legacy behavior. So to fix both of these, I mean hit reg is a little bit, sketchy. You can fix it, or it might not be a total fix just because of servers and all that. But super bouncing, at least, to mirror legacy behavior, the only thing you have to do is change the tick rate from 60 to 30. And because the original version ran on 30 hertz, and this version of the game runs on 60 hertz. And, that's, if you've ever played the original and then also try to play this game, you'll notice that this game feels a lot more bouncy and slidey than the original. And that's due to the 60 tick rate. And that's just how the port was made. Back on Vista, it was never downgraded. But in the past, 343 has pushed patches to mirror Classic a little bit more. Due to 60 tick rate, the carbine fired twice as fast. And some vehicles shot twice as fast, guns overheating, all that. They've pushed patches to fix that in a way that mirrors Classic. Now, the issue here is, especially with the fix they just pushed, it seems like there's being a lot of resources being invested into trying to make workaround fixes instead of just fixing one simple thing. If they just changed the tick rate to 30, none of these problems would be happening. And we know we can change the tick rate to 30 and the game functions fine because modders do it we've done it since the PC release. It's extremely easy. You just change an address, then the game works completely fine. Now, I know it's a lot more complicated than that. I'm not a game developer. I know things are a lot more complicated in the background. But if if modders can do it with just changing a couple addresses and play the game exactly how it released 10 years ago, trademark, I'd hope 343 would be able to do something similar. I'd really want them to like revert this fix, mostly because a majority of people who run Halo 2 do it on the anniversary version because of all the quality of life improvements. And it, this is kind of like a kind of like a big middle finger to them. And I know it wasn't intentional. I know this is just a byproduct of their fixes. But like I said, I think they can go about fixing things in a better way that doesn't negatively affect a lot of people. Because even though they did push out this one fix, and I know they aren't like trying to push any more huge MCC patches, they could have fixed so much more by just changing the tick rate. Or even just like putting an option in the menu to change the tick rate. It's making it sound a lot more simple than it is, but it's way more simple than developing so many weird fixes like they've been trying to push, you know? And I don't really have anything else more to say. This is a bug as far as I'm concerned because the change they made does not match Classic. That's how I'm going to try to play it off. And there's my suggested fix. Change the tick rate to 30, or give us an option to, or just revert it and just figure out a different way to do it, please. I know it's only like 10 people, but please.